Okay, let's look at a really cool way to automate pulling of a report. So very often you are going to websites, you're logging in, you're navigating to pages, you are filling out forms to get certain data, and you're downloading a report. One example that I do often is on Shopify. I will go to the website, I will log in, I will click around a bunch, I'll end up on the reports page, I'll then put in these filters, I'll then put in the right dates, and all sorts of stuff. Finally, 1, 2, 3 minutes later, I have my report. So obviously it's not a huge amount of time, but that's real time, especially if you save that a few times a day or several times a week. It adds up to real time. It's also boring work where you can make mistakes. So if you can automate any of that, it's a nice thing. So that's what we did here with some formulas. You can see here all the formulas. I'll talk you through it. But what it does is it creates this URL, which takes me directly to the report page. So you can see this URL, it's called a GET request because all the data for the URL is in the URL itself. In some cases, you won't be able to do that, but in a lot of websites you can, where the URL itself will take you to exactly see the since this date until this date with the report, and it takes you exactly to the page. So what you do is you just change this date. This is the starting date, and you'll see it changes this date right here for the since date, and this date is just calculated based on what today is. So you can, yesterday, because yesterday is the last full day. So we'll walk through that, but here is the input. This formula month pulls the month from it. This formula day pulls the day from this. This formula year pulls the year from this. And this one will add a 0 to a number if it's less than 10. Why do you need that? Because very often for URLs, if you see right here, this won't work if this said 41. It has to say 0401. So to do that, you can have an if statement that if the day is less than 10, put a 0 before it, otherwise just use that. And so that happens automatically, and that is in this entire formula. So this formula is it's a concatenation, it's a combination of strings and formula results. So you'll see here with these quotes, we start with just that because that's the beginning of the URL no matter what happens. Then we look at the year and we say, give me the year of the input. So again, we put in our input here. So take the year of that. Ampersand just combines it with the next string, which is the dash. So it's since equals right here, the year, just pulled the year. Then we need a dash, got our dash. Then we have that if statement to make sure that we don't end up with a 4 here, but we get 0 for. So if the month is less than 10, give me 0 in the number, otherwise give me the number. Then another dash, and so on. And then another string in the middle, the end until, because you need to have the structure of the URL is since equals date, end until equals date, and then all the rest of the stuff. So a really, again, not too complicated. It can look a little bit complicated here, but it's actually a pretty simple collection of formulas. There's no complicated formulas. It's a few in there, but if you take your time, you can put this together, and you can definitely end up saving real time by having something like this, where it's one click to the report. So in some ways, it's not true automation, but you are automating it because to get this report otherwise, you'd have to click 5, 6 times, click on the dates, click around, go back and forth, then add these filters. It's a headache, and it's tedious, and it's easy to make mistakes. When you can just do this, which makes it really quick and really easy. So think about how you can use Google Sheets combining formulas to automate, quote unquote, automate some of your work. Saves time, avoids the boring work, reduces errors, all good stuff.